Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy TJ, and we're back with another ep of Letters to You. And today's letter is going to be about understanding. I took a little hiatus, went to go see my family in Iowa, and just to take a break and just talk to my family. I don't talk to them enough, especially over the phone, and talking to them in person, hearing a little bit about what they're going through and what they're dealing with and the triumphs and the frustrations that they have was really good. And first of all, I kind of let you know that you're not the only one going through anything, even though we all know that um, as a normal thing in society or in society, in life in general. But, to hear it, and to see how they're still persevering and thriving and just figuring it out, as we all have to in our own way, in our own time, was a really good thing. And I was really appreciative of the time that I got to spend with them. And when I got back, I was just kind of going over just some personal, thoughts in my own triumphs and my own failures and, failing in a particular area that was just kind of like not sitting with me. And I just wanted like to to really get to the bottom of what I was feeling, And so today's episode is going to be about understanding, you know. Understanding is basically, just grasping the nature of something, you know, getting a hold of the root of something that is going on or even that exists, if you have an understanding of planes, you know what the basics are to make them fly. You know what materials go into a good plane. Or how birds do it. Things like that. Like if you have an understanding of something, you kind of know where to begin to get to the end, if that makes any sense. And so I was just dealing with like a lot of like personal things. So like obviously personal begins with the word person, you know? So I've had a few issues with a few people over the course of my life. And I think the biggest thing that I've lacked in resolving my issues with them is understanding, grasping the nature of what the issue is, understanding where it's coming from on my end, and understanding why I'm seeing something in them, or vice versa. Understanding what their issue is with me, and it's crazy because like this world is so it's kind of divisive at at a tipping point, at a high point, I should say. Especially with social media, and especially around this time of year, election year, where we just had a new president uh, elected, and like this time of year, you see everybody is so divided, and I don't always think people understand why there is such a discourse or disconnect, I should say, between one side or the other side. And I'm talking in general, but just with for the sake of like election time, like you have your right wing, left wing, conservative liberals, and or conservatives and liberals, I should say, and there's two sides of this aisle that very few people, it's seemingly so, I should say, very few people seem to have a middle ground or a common ground to where they, kind of meet. It's like a one side or another thing, and I've never understood. I've never gotten the nature of why that is. I guess maybe tribalism or something like that, but that's neither here nor there. I think the biggest point is that when we're interacting with each other and dealing with each other, we want to be able to get to the root of something. One of my favorite passages in the Bible or chapters in the Bible is Proverbs 4, and it is basically a father, admonishing his son to get wisdom over all things. you know, wisdom, you know, and understanding to be able to understand where someone's coming from, even if you don't agree with them or may not like them, goes a long way in preserving all kinds of relationships. And so I think that the biggest thing is we don't really ask questions. We just talk, you know, and being in my romantic relationships, I know I'm like that. I just want to get my shit out, and as soon as my the other half starts talking, I'll be like, yo, but what I just said, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's that kind of thing. So I think asking questions, genuinely wanting to hear the answer, and also with an intent to acknowledge and make a change, to what is presented to you, the information that you're presented with, and limiting your assumptions. Like that's another big thing that I think a lot of people don't do or recognize. Like, I'm all for intuition and whatnot, but ask the question first, for sure. Ask the question and really, really seek to understand. And a big thing that I've been trying to work on and really hone in on is checking my feelings when I'm trying to understand. At least in a heated argument. If we're talking, we're just talking. Like, I really am a pretty good listener through a normal conversation. I think I'm flashing back to like arguments and stuff like that I've had, and so that's kind of where I'm diving into to the assuming and all that stuff. But in a normal conversation, in normal discourse, for sure, when you are getting like your back and forth and in a normal conversation, not necessarily in a heated one, kind of like gauge what you feel, why you feel it, and do your due diligence, going forward with the information that you're presented. Don't I feel like a lot of people that I talk to on literally on anything. It could be like LeBron James and Michael Jordan. You know, they have their opinion or their thought process and don't acknowledge the other side at all. You know, and it's always been a weird thing to me. Like, I think the world is more advanced and further along than it's ever been, but it's a lot less nuanced than it's ever been, and so much more is going on. And I'm saying "and" a lot, but it's true though. I think we really, really have to take a step back. I'm sorry, and acknowledge what's going on, see what's happening, and just kind of soak it in and talk more and understand more. You know. So that's my spiel, and I'll see you next week.